Are there specific homeschool curriculums for autism, ADHD, dyslexia? The list goes on and on. I get asked this question all the time. And I totally understand where parents are coming from, because we have this mindset like, okay, my kid has ADHD, so they need an ADHD curriculum. That is actually not the case with homeschooling. Now, are there some curriculums that might be better suited for children with autism or ADHD? Definitely. But I am of the mindset that regardless of whatever your child's ability is, whatever they struggle with, whether it's an actual label that's been given to them, or if it's just kind of like a weak area for your child, I truly, truly believe that it does not matter what curriculum you go with, as long as you're thinking about your child's learning style. Would they benefit more from a spiral-based curriculum or a mastery-based curriculum? I have tons of videos comparing the two, but more so remembering that you are your child's IEP. You are the one that's going to make the accommodations for them regardless of which curriculum you're using. So I could take a Christian Light Education curriculum lesson and I could use this with my autistic child, but I'm going to make modifications. Maybe I need to break it down into smaller chunks. Same thing with ADHD especially. Maybe my child is more of a kinesthetic hands-on learner, not necessarily with a label attached to them, but that's just their learning style. Then I might be seeking a curriculum that has a lot of manipulatives and things that are included with it, not so much book work. The only exception to this rule, I would say, is dyslexia. So there is a style of teaching called the Orton-Gillingham method. This is like the gold standard, or it was once the gold standard for teaching students with dyslexia. There is a curriculum, it's called All About Reading, and that specifically teaches reading using the Orton-Gillingham method. So if you have a child with dyslexia, that might be one that you want to look into. Christian Light Education also has a curriculum designed for students with dyslexia, and it's called Phonics Foundations, also using the Orton-Gillingham method. But in terms of like autism, ADHD, there's not a specific curriculum that I know of that you can like Google autism spectrum curriculum. Like there's none that I know of, and that is because you can tailor or modify any curriculum. Grab one off the shelf, take a look at the lesson, and then make the changes that you feel necessary to meet your child's needs. Because a lot of these things like autism and ADHD, these are spectrum type disabilities. It would be very difficult to create a full curriculum geared towards a spectrum type disability, because it is such a spectrum, and what works for one child on this side of the spectrum might not work for that child with that same disability, just on a different part of the spectrum, if that makes sense. One last thing, if your child has any kind of learning ability, disability, whatever you want to call it, one question that you have to ask yourself is, would they benefit from an online, like an engaging video game style curriculum? Like a lot of online curriculums have a gaming aspect to them. Or would that cause a distraction for your child and they're better off with like a teacher-led bookwork style curriculum? This is one area where I really see students, whether they're on the spectrum, ADHD, whatever, they could go one way or the other, benefiting from the online or not benefiting. Hope this helps.